Kody is absolutely terrified that Robyn might leave him. As the season goes on, he's only getting more desperate and pathetic. His insecurity is practically dripping off him, and deep down, he's absolutely petrified that Robyn might bail on him. He's cornered himself by focusing so heavily on Robyn, with no other wives or family units left to fall back on. It's a risky move, and now he's realizing just how high the stakes are. When it comes to romance, Kody's approach is, well, creepy and reactive. Back when he had all 4 wives, his biggest concern wasn't making sure each one felt loved or valued. No, he just wanted to look like the stud of the group. Now, he's paranoid about David, Christine's new husband. He's brought up Christine's new relationship so many times, claiming he's heard all this stuff. He went after Robyn, not because he genuinely adored her, but because he didn't want any other man to have her. Remember when he bought her a ring that mimicked Christine's, just to assert his dominance? He once bragged that Janelle was so turned on by his 6-pack abs, more like a beer keg, honestly. And who can forget his ridiculous peacock strutting, thinking it made him look romantic? Kody honestly believes he's some dreamy, ideal husband, but the truth is far darker. He's selfish, lazy, manipulative, emotionally abusive, and immature. He doesn't have a clue what it means to be a real husband or a man. Let's be real. We all know Robyn isn't going anywhere. She's not about to start over in her late 40s or early 50s. I know. Some of you are too literal to appreciate an estimate, and end up slinging MLM products or getting a real job outside the show. Kody's just finally stopped pretending Robyn wasn't always his favorite. What we're seeing now is just the truth coming out after all these years of what's been going on behind closed doors. And let's be honest here, this whole date seems more like production setting them up for a vow renewal. Robyn's probably green with envy over the attention Christine's getting with her wedding story. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Meri claims that appraising raw land is hard, but if that's the case, how did they even determine they paid a fair price for Kody Pass in the first place? Surely there was some kind of appraisal when they bought it, right? I just can't buy the idea that appraising raw land is really that difficult, especially if Kody doesn't want one done. Does anyone else smell something fishy here? A quick Google search says otherwise. There are plenty of appraisers in Flagstaff who specialize in undeveloped land, even those involved in divorce settlements. So yeah, this whole "it's hard" excuse doesn't hold up. I mean, appraisers literally spend their careers figuring out the value of things that don't come with a price tag, like homemade trailers and other oddball stuff. I'm starting to think Kody paid way too much for Kody Pass, then somehow convinced himself he could handle the whole utilities situation. And surprise, surprise, every business decision he's ever made has been a disaster. Here's my theory. Kody doesn't want to sell Kody Pass with everyone's name on it. He definitely doesn't want to split it 4 ways. I swear, while I was half checking out the painfully boring conversation between Meri, Robyn, and Kody, yes, I left the Oxford comma out on purpose. It seemed like Kody's big plan was to buy out their shares at a price he sets. If Kody can convince Janelle and Meri to take a payout and erase their names, he could sell the land, which, by the way, is currently valued at around $1.3 million online, and pocket most of the profits with Robyn. Nobody's saying it outright, but I'm guessing Janelle wasn't having any of it, which is why communication went downhill. So Meri, after getting a heads up from Janelle, knows what's up and doesn't fall for Kody's usual manipulative tactics. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Legally, I'm not even sure Kody would be forced to split the profits evenly, since Janelle and Meri don't own equal shares with him and Robyn. We all know by now that Kody's not about to do the fair thing. Also, Let's talk about that ridiculous comment Kody made to Christine, claiming that if they didn't have a custody agreement, the state would take Truly. What a moron. Honestly, I've been so fed up with Kody lately that I went back to watch the first season. And wow, he's always been this arrogant, self-righteous jerk. Robyn lecturing about communication, calling Christine a liar, and offering marital advice? Just gross. I really hope Janelle and Meri get what they deserve in the end. Robyn's whole "we're so sad there's no church nearby" act is truly something. Like, if she and Kody are missing church so much, why not move to a place where there's actually a congregation? She's all teary-eyed talking to the girls about how she grew up going to church, how they don't have a local option, and how much she misses it. It's like she's acting as though they didn't have a choice about where to go, which is odd, to say the least. Here's my take. I don't buy Robyn's sudden, all-encompassing faith. I think she's always been about saying how important her faith is, but when it came to living it, not so much. She wanted to avoid the very real possibility of another younger wife entering the picture. And what better way to dodge that than to act like church is a big, sad issue? That way, she can keep up her polygamy is so important to me persona without having to actually, live in the reality of it. Classic Robyn move. Talk the talk, but never walk the walk. And let's not forget Christine's spot-on assessment. Robyn never really lived polygamy. Robyn may claim she grew up in the faith, but come on, wasn't her dad basically living with his main family, while Robyn and her mom were just the side family? Let's be real. Now it all makes sense though. Robyn's rewriting her history and positioning herself as the main one in Kody's world. To do that, she had to tear down the already established family dynamic, the one that still had issues but was a family, wrecking the lives of 3 women and all their kids in the process. That's a level of evil I can't even fathom. And what about the whole church thing? She doesn't want to go to a polygamous church because she doesn't want Kody to be tempted. As for Kody, he's terrified another man might want Robyn. The delusion is just perfect for each other. Honestly, I can just picture Robyn feeding Kody lies about how people at the old church were hitting on her. Maybe she even paid some catfish friend to send fake love emails just to make Kody jealous. She's done it before. Meanwhile, publicly, she's telling us all she can't do polygamy because she's traumatized by the breakdown of the family. Then she's telling her kids the original family doesn't like them. She's got a lot of lies to juggle, huh? And of course, Dayton had to go to NAU, and suddenly everyone else had to follow him there. Oh, and Kody's not even part of the AUB anymore, so they wouldn't be going back to church there anyway. They used to have church in their house, but surprise, that interest faded once the novelty wore off. But honestly, it's not that surprising that Aurora and Brianna are starting to show interest in church at that age. It's happened with other kids. Maddie and Mykelti both became interested in church around that age, only to be denied baptism in the LDS church. Aurora's had religious pictures in her room for years, so she clearly has some sort of interest in it. Kody's love for his children. Well, it's directly tied to how much he loves their mothers. Sadly, that's the reality. Just look at how he reacted when Aurora had a panic attack versus when Ysabel told him she wanted spinal surgery because she was in pain. Night and day, Kody's affection comes with conditions. The moment you start questioning him or grow beyond his narrow worldview, you're essentially useless to him. It's no surprise he's always favored Leon and Janelle's kids. Those were the relationships he could control. But as Gwen pointed out during the COVID drama, Gabe and Garrison weren't used to being treated like outsiders by Kody. Before they spoke up against him, Kody prioritized them, especially because their mother stood by them instead of him. The truth is, Kody's completely out of his depth when faced with any real crisis, like Truly's renal failure or Ysabel's chronic pain that needs surgery. Those are the times when his partners, the women in his life, step in and take charge. Kody? Not so much. It's a character flaw, and love doesn't really factor into it. He's just there for the fun parts, the attention, because, frankly, he's shallow and immature. As for Aurora's panic attack, I wouldn't call it love either. It's more like Kody's chance to play the hero, soak up the attention, and make it all about him. At first, I couldn't see what everyone was talking about when it came to Robyn. I mean, what were they all so worked up about? The first hint I got was when she shot down Meri's request to take Sol on her trip to see Leon. But then she kept rambling on about wanting to be part of a polygamous family, and I thought, okay, maybe I'm missing something here. But it wasn't until after COVID hit that everything clicked into place. And here's the thing that still baffles me. They hardly ever filmed inside Robyn's house, even though Kody was basically living there. What's that about? I'm honestly confused. Now about Meri. It sort of seemed like she was using Sol as an emotional human shield at that point. Not that I'm some kind of Robyn superfan, but I can sort of see where Robyn was coming from there. Look, I don't agree with Robyn on a lot of things, and I don't exactly think she's being upfront half the time, but this situation wasn't one of them. Robyn mentioned that Sol was having a rough time, though I don't exactly remember the details. Was he waking up a lot at night and needing her? Something like that. Regardless, she wasn't comfortable sending him far from home without her, which makes sense. But here's the kicker. She did offer for Brianna to go with Meri instead. So, I don't think this was some kind of I don't trust Meri or I'm going to mess with Meri moment. I honestly believe Sol was just going through a tough phase, and Robyn trusted Meri enough to send Brianna along. Weird, right? What really gets under my skin is watching the last couple of seasons. Kody and Robyn are just a non-stop me fest, always playing the victim. Everything is someone else's fault, especially Christine's, Janelle's, and the kids. It's like they've got a monopoly on suffering. Meanwhile, Christine and Janelle are actually upset about how Kody's relationship with his kids is falling apart, how he's punishing the kids because he's angry at their mothers. But of course, no one wants to talk about that. And then there's Kody's classic line, "The kids can call me too." Seriously? That gets under my skin every time. My dad was like that, and after 15 years of no contact, I can safely say I know exactly how it feels to have to parent your own dad. It's exhausting when you're the one expected to keep the relationship going, especially when you're the one being treated like the child. After those extra episodes last season, the 4 talkbacks and lookbacks, Robyn looked like she was about ready to explode. She seemed miserable and, honestly, almost annoyed with Kody and his absurd comments. For a second, I thought she might actually realize what everyone else has known for a while, that Kody is just an all-around jerk. Maybe she'd see that the version of events he's been feeding her isn't the whole truth. But nope, this season, not so much. Now, she just sees Kody's awful behavior as him being in pain. It's honestly a letdown. I stopped watching for years, so I missed a lot. But I binge-watched a marathon recently, and let me tell you, it's been eye-opening. The vibe I've always gotten from Robyn is that she's wanted to be the only wife all along. Maybe she liked the idea of sister wives as her built-in friends, since it doesn't seem like she has any of her own. So now that everyone's leaving, I bet she's secretly a little hurt, even if she'd never admit it. Robyn and Kody both scream narcissism. And we all know that narcissists will always find a way to turn everything into someone else's fault. They pushed everyone else away, but now they're acting shocked and hurt that people don't want to hang out with them anymore. How ridiculous is that? The scene that really stood out to me was when Robyn made Meri a card and cried over her moving out. Meri's face, priceless. She was giving Robyn that seriously look like, you helped make this happen, and now you're upset. Same goes for Kody crying about their dream ending. Meri flat out called him out, saying she didn't understand because it was his decision to let it get this way. Kody and Robyn are insufferable. It's a toxic mix of narcissism, zero self-awareness, and probably a little performance for the cameras. And let's be real, they are probably freaking out because this could be the end of their cash cow. No more drama means no more show, right? I honestly wonder if they'll try to bring in another wife just to keep the circus going. If you haven't seen Daughters of the Cult on Disney Plus or Hulu, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's the story of the LeBron family, which happens to be Christine's mom's side of the family. The show dives into how her grandfather was murdered for founding the AUB, the Apostolic United Brethren. It's full of uncles, cousins, and family drama. And once you start connecting the dots, it all starts to make sense. No wonder Christine bailed on the AUB. It's pretty ironic when you think about it. Christine spent years trashing her mom on national TV, all because her mom had the guts to leave an abusive and dangerous situation. Then there's Christine's own story. She leaves Kody because he stops dipping his pencil in her. Yes, that's what she actually says. And then, of course, she acts like a feminist hero, without even pausing to realize that she's jumped straight into another relationship. Christine likes to act all naive and clueless when it comes to plural marriage, but here's the kicker. Her own mother and aunt had the courage to leave their marriages and the faith, and they tried to talk to Christine about it. But instead of listening to them, Christine demonized them on national TV. She really comes off as a piece of work. Oh, everyone's out here calling Meri a pick-me, huh? Well, sure, you're not wrong, but let's be real for a second. She was close with Robyn's kids. If Meri started trash-talking Kody and Robyn, do you think she'd ever have a shot at keeping a decent relationship with them? The girl's got her friends on camera doing the dirty work for her, so she can keep her hands clean. Isn't that obvious to anyone else? And the whole pick-me thing, it's laughable. The foundation of polygamy is literally pick me. Every one of them was playing that game, and it takes years and a lot of emotional gymnastics to unlearn it. None of them have really deconstructed the whole thing. I mean, Janelle's still married to him, so... As for the kids, let's not kid ourselves. They're just used as a reward for when she behaves. She's not actually close to them, no matter what she likes to think. Any notion of that closeness? Yeah, it's probably just in her head. Kody loves to brand himself as an alpha, constantly reminding everyone of his so-called leadership skills while performing manly chores for the camera. Yet somehow, his attempts always fail spectacularly because he's, frankly, terrible at them. But when it comes to actual confrontation, like telling the women the truth, he avoids it at all costs, terrified of any potential conflict. A perfect example of this is a conversation between Kody, Robyn, and Meri at CP. When Meri mentions wanting her land by the pond, Kody freezes up. Why? Because he's afraid to tell her the real reason he doesn't want her there. He's worried she'll restrict access, just like she did at the Utah house. So instead of being upfront, he dances around it, trying to dodge the confrontation. And this is just one of countless times he's lied or misled someone to avoid dealing with an issue head-on. Take his marriages as another example. He openly admits he married Janelle to avoid Meri, and married Christine to deal with the tension between Meri and Janelle. Imagine marrying someone just so you don't have to spend as much time with your first wife. And he said it over and over. It's like he's trying to convince himself he's some sort of man by running from conflict, but it only makes him look pathetic. And let's talk about his solution for dealing with Meri. Rather than facing his issues with her, he just adds more wives to dilute the relationship. The tension between Meri and Janelle? Throw in Christine. Problem solved. This whole pattern just proves how toxic avoidance can be, and how divorce should be seen as a valid, shame-free option when things aren't working. Honestly, living with someone for at least a year before marrying might save a lot of heartache, but that's just my 2 cents. Kody's dishonesty and cowardice are hard to ignore. Everything with him is a game, a test, or a manipulative mind game. If something's wrong, he never just addresses it directly. Instead, he sits back and thinks, if I do this, let's see what she does. Or he runs off to gossip behind people's backs, stirring the pot. But now he's so paranoid, he assumes everyone's out to get him, or that any man who even looks at his wife is secretly trying to steal her. It's a sad, twisted way to live. His entire mindset is like a pitiful cycle of insecurity and avoidance. I'm currently watching S19E11. Yes, I'm in the UK, so we're a season behind. And let me tell you, I am mortified for Meri. She's moving with Kody and her brother-in-law's help, and it's all fun and games until she backs up into Kody in the moving van. I can't even. The awkward sexual move moment is cringeworthy to the max. It's so painfully obvious that she's desperate for his attention. This man has been downright awful to her for years, yet here she is, laughing and playing along like everything's just so fun, all in the hopes of making him like her again, and maybe even earning that favorite ex-wife title. Seriously, watching this makes me want to reach through the screen, shake her, and scream, "What are you doing? Oh, Meri, he's such a complete tool. You're a grown woman. Hire movers to pack your van, for heaven's sake, and just leave. Stop trying." I get that breakups stir up a whole mess of emotions, so I won't go into all that, but here's a thought. Maybe Meri played along just to send a big ol' screw you to Robyn. I mean, picture it. Hey Robyn, while you're not around, Kody's having all sorts of fun with other women, and yep, it's on national TV. If you saw the look on Robyn's face when she showed up with that ridiculous gift, it's clear she knew something was up, and she did not like it. As for the actual moment in the van, people keep acting like Meri chose to be in that position. No. She was literally being pushed into it by her brother-in-law. And not to mention, she had to pee. I'd probably be hunched over in a similar way, trying to keep my bladder from bursting while some bike is pressed into my stomach. If anything, the whole scene, including her sobbing, just cleared up why Meri stuck around for so long. The man has trashed her publicly, but behind closed doors, clearly giving her just enough to keep her hanging on. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.